The time has come to review the film which is the origin story of the Clown Prince of Crime.
Yo, dudes, the Empire's pretty chill. Maybe you could, join it or something.
Hey everyone, Lucamus Prime here, so it is time for another movie review today, and this time it's going to be for a DC film. This is not going to be a DC superhero film, but it's actually a DC psychological thriller film, which is serving as an origin story for, of course, the arch nemesis of the Cape Crusader himself, Batman, and that film, of course, is none other than 2019's Joker, as directed, of course, by Todd Phillips and starring Joaquin Phoenix in the title role. So, now, how was this film made then? So this film was first conceived in 2016 by Todd Phillips. He wrote the script alongside Scott Silver throughout 2017, and they were inspired by 1970s character studies and the films by Martin Scorsese, such as Taxi Driver and also The King of Comedy. Martin Scorsese was initially attached to a project as a producer as well. The film also loosely adapts plot elements from Batman the Killing Joke and also The Dark Knight Returns, but Todd Phillips and Scott Silver did not look at specific comics for inspiration, and they also wished for his film to not be connected to any other Batman film continuities at all, its own standalone film basically. Joaquin Phoenix became attached in February 2018 and was cast about July, and the majority of the cast then signed on by August. Filming then took place in New York City, Jersey City and Newark from September to December 2018. This is also the first live-action Batman continuity set film to receive an R rating from the Motion Picture Association as well. The film then premiered at the 76th Venice International Film Festival on August 31st, 2019, and was then theatrically released in the cinemas in America on October 4th. It received mixed reviews from critics and was a box office success, setting records for an October release and going on to gross over $1 billion worldwide, and it became the first R-rated film to do so as well. Now, when it comes to my reaction to this film then, so when, of course, the film was being made, I was definitely, of course, interested to check it out to see, of course, how they would tell the story of Joker's origin in, an alternate storytelling, basically. And you guys may remember that I reacted to the trailers for the film, and I was definitely really keen to watch it from the trailers that I saw. And I saw a film at the cinema, and I did, of course, post a spoiler-free review for it when I got back from seeing it at the cinema. But this is going to be a more in-depth review where I do mention, of course, things happening in the story, of course. And when I saw the film, I absolutely loved it. I personally think this is a phenomenal DC film, one of the best DC films I've seen, and definitely, in my opinion, one of the best ones I've seen where the main character is the villain. I think it's an amazing film. Definitely, in my opinion, Todd Phillips' best movie of his whole career. Just amazing. And it won several Oscars for it as well. And for example, Joaquin Phoenix won the Oscar for Best Actor, well deserved. And also as well, the composer for a film called Hilda Guðnadóttir also won the Oscar for Best Soundtrack as well. Definitely also well deserved because the music was, in my opinion, fantastic as well. Just definitely, in my opinion, a really amazing film, which I definitely love from start to finish. So what is the movie about then? So this film, of course, tells an alternate origin story for the Joker where he's got a name, which is Arthur Fleck. And in this story, he's a failed clown and he's an aspiring stand-up comedian. But he descends into mental illness and nihilism, which inspires a violent countercultural revolution against the wealthy in decaying Gotham City. So, now what I think is great about this film and why I think it's such a phenomenal film. So, I think the first thing I've definitely got to talk about in this film is easily, of course, Joaquin Phoenix as the Joker himself, because I personally think that Joaquin Phoenix was absolutely fantastic as the Joker in this film. And Joker is easily my all-time favourite role of his, and I definitely think in this film he gives the best performance of his whole career in this film because he's such a phenomenal actor. Definitely, in my opinion, an amazing casting for a Clown Prince of Crime. And I've also got to give him lots and lots of praise for his dedication for a role, because in this film, he gave such an accurate portrayal of a complete and utter psychopath in this film. Just amazing, in my opinion. And he also had such an amazing laugh for the Joker, which he said was actually the hardest part of playing the character, was getting the laugh right. But he definitely did. But his laugh for the Joker was just amazing, just how I'd imagine the character to sound when laughing. And he even as well lost £52 through a role as well. And when I saw how he looked in this film, where he was really skinny, like, I was shocked at how much weight he'd lost through a role. Like, I really got to admire his dedication, giving lots of praise for his dedication for a role, because you can tell he really prepared for a role so well from that. Just a fantastic actor. And in this film, he played Joker so well in this film. He played him so dynamically with different types of personality traits, up until, of course, he becomes the Joker we all know from the comics towards the end of the film. As well as, of course, Joaquin Phoenix, I also, as well, definitely love Robert De Niro as the talk show host called Murray Franklin, who plays a role in Arthur's downfall into becoming the Joker. Robert De Niro is one of my favourite actors of all time, and I think he was an amazing casting in this film as Murray Franklin. He's such an amazing job playing Murray in this film. And he said as well that his role in this film pays homage to his character in the film The King of Comedy by Martin Scorsese, where he played a character called Rupert Pupkin, who is a comedian obsessed with a talk show host, just like, of course, Arthur's obsessed with Murray, and idolises him very much. And having seen The King of Comedy a couple of years ago, I can definitely see the similarity right there, really. Like, when I was watching that film, I was thinking, this reminds me very much of Joker. And what do you know? Of course, Robert De Niro's character in this film is very similar, isn't he? Like, wow. As well as those two great actors, I also as well like the addition as well of Zazie Beetz in this film as Sophie, who is, of course, one of Arthur's neighbours, who he, of course, has a, of course, love interest towards. And I say that in quotation marks because it's all delusion in Arthur's head, it's not real. And I think Zazie Beetz did a really good job playing Sophie in this film. I think she's a very good actress. I'd already seen her before in Deadpool 2 as Domino a year prior to seeing Joker. And I think in this film, she was really good in this as Sophie, did a very good job playing her in this. And she was very good alongside Joaquin Phoenix. And apparently she's a big fan of Joaquin Phoenix, so she really enjoyed working with him. So I can never tell because she played her part so well alongside Joaquin Phoenix. And as well as I also like the addition as well of Frances Conroy as Penny, who's Arthur's mother. I think she played Penny really well in this film as well. Definitely did a good job playing her as mental and physically ill as well. And I think she played her really well in this. And even though this film also does focus on Joker as a primary character, it does feature, of course, connections to, of course, Gotham's characters still, because it features the Waynes. So, for example, of course, Brett Cullen appears in this film as Thomas Wayne. I think he did a really good job playing Thomas Wayne in this film, Brett Cullen did. And I think he had really good scenes alongside Joaquin Phoenix. Apparently, in the scene in the bathroom in the theatre when Arthur meets Thomas Wayne, that scene was actually improvised by the two actors. And having seen the film, especially on my rewatch of it recently, I think it's very convincing. You know, you wouldn't be able to tell it's improvised because of how well it's acted. Just amazing. And I also saw a live edition of Dante Pereira Olsen as Bruce Wayne, who also appears in this film, of course, as a little boy. This, of course, is long before, of course, he becomes Batman in the future because he's only a kid in this film. And I think he did a really good job playing Bruce, especially in the scene where Joker meets him for the first time at the gates of Wayne Manor. And speaking of that scene as well, I also like how we got a small appearance by Douglas Hodge as Alfred, of course, who is the Wayne's butler. And I think he was really good as Alfred in this film, despite only appearing in that scene, of course, where he meets Joker at the gates. And Martha Wayne also appears in this film, played by Carrie Louise Potrello, but she has no dialogue in this film, she just screams. And she never even refers to by name either, but for what it was worth for, I thought she was good as her with what she was given, even though she has no dialogue. And as well as that as well, there's other good cast members in this as well. I'll just name a few, really. I've already mentioned, of course, the Waynes appearing in this film, and there's also Arthur's clown co-workers being Randall and Gary, who are played by Glenn Flesh and Lee Gill, and also as well the GCPD officers called Garrity and Burke, who are played by Bill Camp and Shea Wiggum, and even as well Brian Tyree Henry appearing in this film as Clark, who is a clerk of Arkham State Hospital as well. And there's many others, just to name a few really. We even get a cameo appearance by Justin Theroux as a guest on Franklin's show called Ethan Chase, which is definitely really cool to see. And as well as this great cast of actors as well, I think the story in this film is also, in my opinion, brilliant, because I think it does a really good job showing an accurate portrayal of how a character can of course have a downfall into becoming a complete and utter psychopath. In this case, of course, being the Joker, becoming the Joker, of course. And I think the writing for this film was brilliant, in my opinion, and really well done. Like, I think Arthur's development in this film was, in my opinion, fantastically well done and well written. And the acting by the cast also definitely helped this story play out so well. As well as that, I also really like as well this film's visuals as well. And what I think is also impressive about this film is it barely features any CGI at all. It's mostly just practical. And in my opinion, it was really well done, even with a lack of CGI. Like, this film is definitely an example I can say of a film where it can do well without CGI. This is definitely a massive example of that. And I think, the film is fantastic, even if it has a lack of CGI. And I also, as well, really love how this film was rated R, because the Joker, of course, is a dark character. So when you're telling a story about him in a film, which is entirely about a Joker, they should definitely not hold back on, of course, the darkness for the character, because the character is really dark. So I like how this film was rated R, and it featured lots of mature themes in it, because the Joker is a dark character. As well as that, I also, as well, really love the musical score in this film, which is composed, of course, by Hilda Guðnadóttir. And I personally think the music for this film was really well composed, and it really favoured the character of Joker so well, in my opinion. Like, the way it was composed was absolutely brilliant. Like, because it really did tell the Joker's story so well from music alone. Because it really fit his character so well. And is any wonder what she won an Oscar? Yeah, because the music was just amazing. And as well as, of course, the great acting and the great music and also great visuals and a great story, I think the film also has lots of memorable quotes, such as, for example, that the Joker realises that life isn't a tragedy, it's a comedy. And alongside as well, of course, the entire scene in the talk show. Like, I personally think the Joker's scene where he's the guest on Murray's talk show is probably the most intense scene in the entire film. And it's definitely, in my opinion, just so well acted by Joaquin Phoenix and Robert De Niro. Like, it's so intense. And you know how I mentioned this film took inspiration from The Dark Knight Returns at the start of this video? Well, that scene in particular where Joker, of course, shoots Murray in the head after, of course, telling him a joke, or of course, about, of course, what do you get when you cross, that joke. That scene is actually inspired by a very similar scene from The Dark Knight Returns, which is definitely really cool inspiration there, of course. Definitely do love that. And I also think this film has a phenomenal ending as well, which is just how you should end a film about the Joker. And what's cool is, I love how this film, even though it's focused on the Joker, it features a setup for Batman by featuring the Waynes getting killed in the alley, just like, of course, in the comics. So that was definitely a really cool connection to Batman's story right there, even though he's not the focus for the film, it's the Joker. And when Joker, of course, gets arrested and is taken, of course, to Arkham, riots, of course, happen in Gotham, because the Joker, of course, inspires all criminals to rise up and start, of course, the revolution against the wealthy. And they, of course, crash, of course, Joker's car. And then he stands up on top of the car and he dances to the cheers of a crowd. And then he smears blood on his face with a smile. So, right there, of course, that is just a phenomenal end right there. And of course, we get a scene where Joker's in Arkham talking to, of course, a therapist, and he laughs himself about a joke, but he won't tell her the joke because she wants to understand it. And then he leaves behind a trail of bloody shoe prints as he gets chased down. So that is just a phenomenal end to the film right there, just how you end it. And I think as well, the film has a great pace as well, because the pacing for this film, in my opinion, is really well done for 2 hours, because this one is 122 minutes, 2 minutes longer than 2 hours. And in my opinion, it's really well paced because of fantastic acting and the story. Even in the scenes where there was not much action, just characters, of course, talking, it's still, in my opinion, really fun to watch because it's so well acted. It doesn't get boring whatsoever. It's just absolutely brilliant. So yeah, I definitely really love Joker. I think it's a phenomenal DC film, one of the best films. Definitely, in my opinion, Todd Phillips' best movie, and definitely, in my opinion, Joaquin Phoenix's best performance of his whole career. Just absolutely amazing from start to finish. Now, you guys may also be wondering, will I be watching the sequel, Joker Folie à Deux? And my answer to that is no. I have zero interest whatsoever in seeing the sequel. In fact, I was actually out to see the sequel when Mormon announced it, because I've just talked about this film's ending. I personally think this film's ending was phenomenal and did not set up any sequel whatsoever. I personally think this film ended perfectly. And the thing is, it was also meant to be a standalone film in the first place. So I have no idea why they thought it would be a good idea to make a sequel when they were supposed to be doing it as a standalone film in the first place. So, but apparently they did it because, of course, fans demanded it, of course, after a successful film. But no, they don't seem to realise that something's better being left alone. And I was also even more out for a sequel when I found out that for some reason they were turning it into a musical of all things. Now, it would have only worked as a musical if the film was about a musical character. For example, Music Meister. But no, the Joker is not a musical character at all. No. So I was out to see a sequel because of that. And also, I was not really a fan of the casting of Lady Gaga as Harley Quinn. Like, I don't understand why we'd cast her, because I personally think she's the wrong choice for Harley Quinn as a character. Definitely. Like, I don't think she works at all in the role. No way. So, I did not see the sequel, and based on the bad news I've heard about it, I am so glad I avoided it, because, for example, I heard it got really bad reviews from critics. Many people calling it one of the worst sequels of all time as well. And also my girlfriend hates it as well. So, yeah, I'm so glad that I did not see the film, and I never will see it. So I am not going to be wasting my time watching it. I'll happily stick to this film. This is the only Joker film to me. As far as I'm concerned, there can only be one Joker film. And I love the film. It's also one of my girlfriend's favourite films as well. And it's one of my favourites as well. I love this film. I like to pretend it's the only Joker film out there for me. Only one Joker film as far as I'm concerned. So long story short, guys, I love the Joker movie from 2019, and if I was to give this film a score out of 10, because it's one of my favourite DC films of all time, and my favourite film of Todd Phillips, I would definitely give it, for me, a full-blown 10 out of 10. Yeah, I love this film very much. So, guys, this is me doing my review of 2019 Joker, so, you know the drill, guys. Be sure to give this video a like. Also, be sure to let me know in the comments what you guys think of this film. If you've seen it, Joker, let me know in the comments below. Also, be sure to join Team Plan by pressing subscribe and in the future, and I'll see you all later.